Ayakui Neknamalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I will be talking about my 2026 yearly challenges as well as my January hopefuls. Theoretically, these could have been separate videos, but I didn't feel like doing that, so we're combining them and seeing how it goes. So, yearly challenges. These are some things that I've done like for the past couple of years that I've liked doing just to kind of make my reading choices a bit more interesting. That's all I really have to say about that. Have I completed them? To a degree, but it's fun trying. So the first one is like my goal for the year. I'm gonna keep it at 75 books. I think that's a good amount. Barely hit it in 2025 and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I think it's a good amount. I don't want to like, if I go over, perfect. If I go under, who cares? For the rest of the challenges, like I said, these are things that I've done in the past couple of years that I've just liked doing. I haven't necessarily completed them all, but it's still fun to try. So a lot of these can be found on Storygraph, and if I remember, I'll post them in my description down below. And all these templates I've made myself, and this is just, I know that a lot of them have their own templates, but this is just something that I like to keep track of my way. And the first is the 24 of 2026. So this is going to be not as a template, I don't think, on Storygraph or anything, because it's kind of just like your own TBR for the year. And I just recently did a video about this, so a lot of people will be doing the 26th of 2026, but I like 24 because I haven't been able to like complete it. So I don't want to push it higher if I am not able to even complete 24. I recently did a video on this. You can find it here, I think. This is what my template looks like. I like looking at all the covers all at once. So yeah, and then the blank spaces, I'm just waiting for the Darcy Little Badger cover to be released. The next challenge I do is the A to Z reading challenge. This is a Storygraph challenge as well, so if I remember, I'll put it down in the description down below. And basically how I do it, I know some people do it differently. How I do it, it's the title of the book. So like, for instance, I'm just going to grab a book that's here. Snake Eater would go for S. Some people do it by the author's last name, so that you could do Kingfisher, so it would go for K. That works too. However you want to do it, I do it by title. And basically when it comes to Q, U, X, Y, and Z, the letters just have to be in the title. And I don't tend to count, like if it has the and of like those little small ones, and I forget what they're called, in front of the title, like I don't tend to count those. That's, like I said, just the way I do it. Next two are both from Kayla from Books and Lala. It's the Buzzword Challenge and the Buzzword Cover Challenge. I know she has her own templates for these. They are made for Instagram. I want to make this for YouTube, but also like this is just, I did honor the pink. This is just how I like to set them up. So this is how I have them. I also have another cover challenge, and that is the Coffin Covers Challenge, which is from Jan from Jan Agaton's Patreon. This is another cover challenge that I just enjoy. It's just a little something something. I can usually double up. The next challenge isn't so much it's not so much a challenge, and I don't try to put pressure on myself if I'm not feeling interested, but it's the Lair Buddy Reads. So they're, like I said, I'm part of Jan Agaton's Patreon, and there is a full moon buddy read, vote on, and then there's the bloody read, which Carmilla's and Dracula's get to, you know what, go look at her Patreon and look at the benefits. And basically this is a challenge to myself, and just like picking books up that I wouldn't normally think of picking up. This was really fun in 2025. There were some hits, I feel like some of my favorite books and my favorite series came out of reading a full moon buddy read in 2025. So I kind of want to continue this in 2026 and just pick up books that I wouldn't normally think of picking up, as well as like having a discussion with other people within the lair and Discord. But there have been a couple months in 2025 that I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling either of these books, and that's perfectly fine. And there's been a couple that I've DNF'd even, and it was fine. It was fun. So that's what I'm hoping to do this year as well. And then two challenges that it's just not so much challenges, just something that I like to keep note of, is Indigenous authored books. 2025 was probably my lowest year. I only read 5 books by Indigenous authors. It's not great. I try to do at least one a month in the past, and I'm hoping to bring that up in 2026. And the other one is nonfiction. This works really well in terms of like, I do tend to do at least one a month. 2025 was the lowest I've done in terms of nonfiction. It was still well over 12, so I'm not too worried about it. So, and I still found some bangers. So yeah, let me get into my January hopefuls. So the reason I'm calling them hopefuls is because in the past I have done TBRs. I have done games to help pick my TBRs. And really I just found too much pressure with it. I am very much a mood reader, and I like the games were fun to help kind of pick books off my TBR in order to read for the month, but like I said, found too much pressure with it. I found that I wasn't like picking them up because I didn't want to anymore, and then I was getting tired of doing wrap-ups where I was like, yeah, I didn't finish my TBR. So I found that hopefuls gives me more breathing room. So I'm a part of a local book club that we meet up on Discord, and we're hoping to meet up more in person in 2026. We do like buddy reads where it's like there's no time frame. We just kind of go in when we want to. So, but we also do like not January, but like monthly hopefuls, and like we kind of give a list of like what we're currently reading that we'd like to finish and what we'd like to start reading. And so that's what I'm kind of going to do here if we finish, and then we like give a wrap up towards the end. So that's pretty familiar. So that's what I'm hoping to do, is kind of give you like what I'm currently reading that I would love to be able to finish in January. If I don't finish it in January, then that's fine. So, and I think that's ultimately what I'd like to go into 2026 with, is that, because these are essentially rollovers from 2025, is that there doesn't have to be a clean reset, that we can continue things, that it's not the end all be all come the new year, that things keep going. So, and there's no pressure. There's absolutely no pressure. We're the ones putting pressure on ourselves, and why are we doing that? It's just causing more stress. So these are the books that I've started that I would hope to like to finish in January, but I don't have high hopes because I don't necessarily have the patience or time for physical reading anymore. That being said, like I'd like to find some time to read at least an hour. Like I have been doing that before I go to bed, but like that makes it difficult for some books that I want to annotate. And the first one of that being is Autonomous by Annalee Newitz. This is, I've had this since it came out in 2017. I was very much attracted to the cover, and I actually did start reading this in 2025, as you can tell by where my bookmark is and all the freaking tabs, because it was on my 24 of 2025. This is like dystopian-esque. It's in the future, it's sci-fi, and we're following Jack, who is a pirate of sorts. She ends up coding, she's anti-patent scientist turned drug pirate, a pharmaceutical Robin Hood traversing the world in a submarine, fabricating cheap scripts for poor people who can't otherwise afford them. But then something happens with one of the her latest drug hack leaves a trail of lethal overdoses as people become addicted to their work, repeating job tasks until they become insane. And so I was really enjoying this. I've been highlighting it because I've been curious about this world, mostly because so far we've been based in Greenland and Nunavut, and that really like just piqued my interest. And it's just because I know where Nunavut is, not for any particular reason other than like watching a documentary, not Angry Enoch, but it's with the same woman. I'll put it here, basically. But yeah, I watched that a couple years ago. She talks about Nunavut. I know it's in Greenland. That's basically it. But it's been really interesting, and I've been really wanting to know the world, but it is one that like I've been annotating a lot. And so when I get like too busy to annotate, then like I put it down and I haven't picked it back up in a while. But I did read this is Autonomous. I read Automatic Noodle by Annalee Newitz. It was their newest release in 2025, and absolutely loved it. And it kind of reinvigorated me to like get to finishing this. So I'm hoping to be able to finish this in January. Another one that I think is a little heavy for my I call it night reading, and it's basically just like my bedtime reading. It's a little heavy for that, but it's also one I hope to finish because it's not a long book. It's just it's just pretty intense and really reflective. And that is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El-Akkad. Both Brad and I read Omar El-Akkad's American War. I read it first, and like, I don't want to say I enjoyed it, but it was really intense and really interesting and introspective and like really just in depth, and it was scary. It brought like this anxiety to the surface. So like, this could potentially happen. And then I had Brad read it, and he was like, that was intense, and he did enjoy reading it, and he like wanted me to find other books that were similar to it. So when this first started coming out, I was particularly really interested, did start reading it, and just ended up setting it down, just because it is like, it is a lot. So Omar El-Akkad, here, let me just read the synopsis because I think that's going to do way better than I can. On October 25th, 2023, just 3 weeks after the bombardment of Gaza, Omar El-Akkad put out a tweet. One day, when it's safe, when there's no personal downside to calling a thing what it is, when it's too late to hold anyone accountable, everyone will have always been against this. This tweet has been viewed more than 10 million times. As an immigrant who came to the West, El-Akkad believed that it promised freedom, a place for justice for all. But in the past 20 years reporting on the war on terror, Ferguson, climate change, Black Lives Matter protests, and more, and watching the unmitigated slaughter in Gaza, El-Akkad has come to the conclusion that much of what the West promises is a lie. That there will always be entire groups of human beings it has never intended to treat as fully human, not just Arabs or Muslims or immigrants, but whoever falls outside the boundaries of privilege. One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This is a chronicle of that painful realization, a moral grappling with what it means as a citizen of the U.S., as a father, to carve out some sense of possibility in a time of carnage. I know that I was watching one of Steph's from Fall Into Steph's winter vlogs. Was it a Christmas vlog? Vlogmas vlog, where she reads this. I don't think I finished it, but I was really curious about her thoughts on it, but at the same time, like, I don't want to spoil myself for it. But it, so far, like, it's kind of just made me open my eyes more and cleared out some of the fog. Like, some of the things I've already known, being an Indigenous woman in the US, and knowing our history, and knowing the lack of history that is being taught and whitewashed and etc. But it like further just like opened my eyes, and like I said, cleared the fog of understanding that the government, whether it's Democratic or Republican, is like the same side of the same coin, or different sides of the same coin. So, and that like one's just more blatantly racist or whatever, as opposed to the other who's like all about prayers and sending prayers rather than actually doing anything to help. So yeah, it's been a lot. But I do hope to finish it. Next is my most recent read that I picked up, and this I am using as my like bedtime read, and that is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, where we are following Viv, who we followed in Legends and Lattes. She's an orc, but this is in her past. So this is why it's a prequel, is because she is like just starting out as like an orc warrior of sorts, and she is like young and bullheaded and like she thinks she can do anything and thinks she's invincible, and immediately gets hurt. She gets stabbed and ends up having to recuperate in a small seaside town while the rest of her crew end up going on without her. And so she has to kind of like figure out, like realize that she has vulnerabilities, and realize that like, you know, she's not invincible. So far I've been really enjoying it. We have met the Ratkin, we have met Pot Roast, and I want more of Pot Roast because he's adorable. So far I've been managing to read like a chapter a night. So we'll see if I can get this done by the end of January, but so far I've been really enjoying it. None of these really fit any of the challenges, though Autonomous was the 24th of 2025, so I guess I can not backdate, like, I don't know, complete that. A couple of books I would like to start in January is Snake Eater by T. Kingfisher. This is, I feel like T. Kingfisher is constantly putting new things out, but I think this is the latest. It came out in November of 2025. I remember seeing this is the UK edition. I remember seeing an advertisement for the US edition with, I thought it was a buzzard, but I think now it was like, maybe an emo? I don't know what it is. But I didn't like the cover. So then I saw an advertisement with this cover. I was like, ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. So, and it has foiling, which works for January's coffin covers challenge. So this is a young woman seeking a fresh start is confronted by ancient gods, malevolent supernatural forces, and eccentric neighbors in this witty fantasy horror. With only a few dollars to her name and her beloved dog Copper by her side, Selena flees her past in the city to claim her late aunt's house in the desert town of Quartz Creek. Selena loves the strange beauty of the desert, but the people of Quartz Creek share their town with others. Old gods and spirits whose claim to the land long predates their human neighbors. When Selena's search for answers leads her to her late aunt's journal, she discovers a sinister truth about her home. It's the ground of an ancient god known simply as Snake Eater, to whom it seems Aunt Amelia owed a debt. This is giving House with Good Bones a little bit. So it still smells new. I'm so excited. So I'm really kind of curious about it. I think it'll be interesting. It could also possibly work for the Kayla's Buzzword cover challenge because it does have a skull on the cover. However, I do have something set aside for that as well. Let's go into that one. For Kayla's Buzzword cover challenge, we have The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd Jones. I've had this forever. I think it's when the paperback came out, because I did not like the hardback cover, but I remember people talking about it when it originally came out, 2019. This particular one came out in 2019, but the original came out in 2017. This was originally published in 2017. Like I said, don't like the original hardcover. I enjoy this. This has an anatomical heart on the cover, which works for the Buzzword cover challenge, which is to read a book with something that's supposed to be inside the body on the cover. So like a heart, blood, a skull, something that's supposed to be on the inside of your skin. So this one, from my understanding, is that we are following a young girl, I think this is YA, who's having a miserable time. She has a sucky home life. There are demons that will grant a wish if you essentially like barter one of your internal body parts. So I think this works really well for the cover challenge. This also is on my 24 of 2026, so that'll be really nice to knock off right off the bat as well. It is chunkier than I was expecting, though it is only 348 pages. Supposedly it also does have an excerpt for the bone houses, which I had for a while. I don't think I have any longer. So, and then we have Girl Warrior by Joy Harjo. This is a nonfiction by the first Indigenous Poet Laureate of the United States, and I think she's done 3 terms now. Joy Harjo is one of my mom's friends, actually, so my mom's always kind of questioning why I buy her stuff, because she can probably ask, and I'm just like, I want to support her. But also, I was also gifted this one from the publisher, so I did end up buying an extra copy because they sent me the wrong book first, and that kind of freaked me out. So I panic bought a finished copy, and then this one showed up, so I gifted that one to somebody else, because in my local book club we are buddy reading this, but like I said, it's kind of loosey-goosey. There's no set time, so I'm hoping to read it for that. I was trying real hard not to read it for the end of 2025 because this would work really well for the 2025 cover challenge for December, which was monochromatic. Relatively short chapters, but yeah, from my understanding, this is a nonfiction, and it's basically just like Joy Harjo reminiscing about coming of age. She's talking to Native women and girls, and it's sharing stories about her own coming of age to bring renewed attention to pivotal moments of becoming, including forgiveness, failure, falling, rising up, and honoring our vast family beings. So I think this will be good. I think this will be really interesting. This cover is intense and lovely. So, and then I think that's all I'm going to really say for right now. There's a couple others that I would like to get to, but they're all like, the other ones are like audiobooks. I'm going to just leave it at that, and you'll know when I do my January wrap up what I ended up choosing and what fulfilled what. But these are the ones that I'm hoping to get done and hoping to start in January. If you have any yearly challenges, let me know what they are. Do they overlap with some of mine, or are they something completely different? Yeah, I'm just curious about them. Otherwise, if you made it to the end of this video, let's go ahead and put a snake emoji. I feel like it's been a little bit since I've asked for that, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I hope that you are taking a good rest during this winter, and I hope that you are enjoying your current read. I will see you in another video very soon. Ciao.